Today, we're tackling the question that a lot of you probably have wondered about. Does sewing your own clothes really save money? It sounds like it would, right? But there's a lot of factors to consider, and it's not as always as simple as it seems. So let's dive in. Let's start with how much it actually costs to buy your own clothes. Now, that is a wide range, right? You can buy a very inexpensive t-shirt for $5, or you can get a dress that costs tens of thousands of dollars and anywhere in between. But there's some basic things that go into the cost of your clothes. So just like when you make your own clothing, fabric is a major component to the cost of the garment. So better quality fabric is, of course, is going to cost more, but these manufacturers often get huge bulk discounts. So it's often less expensive for them to buy the material than it would be the cost that we would have to pay. Then we have the cost of labor. Most of the ready to wear clothes are made abroad where labor is much cheaper. But you also have to concern yourself with the ethical considerations of, these factories and how they're treating their workers. When we sew our own clothes, we put a zero in terms of labor costs, but time is valuable even for us. And stores put a markup on these clothes anywhere from 2 to 5 times the wholesale price. So that makes the clothes cost more when you buy them from a store, whether it's online or in person. And we also pay for the convenience of being able to just go pick up a ready to wear item, which is much less expensive than some kind of custom item that would take longer. So, yes, buying your own clothes can be extremely affordable. But once you start thinking about high quality fabrics and ethical production, the prices go way up. That's where we start thinking about making our own clothes. Now let's break down the cost of making our own clothes. It's not all just about the fabric, even though that is a very important and large part of the overall cost. We also have to take into consideration the pattern for the garment, whether it's self-drafted or if we purchase it, all the notions involved, such as thread and zippers and buttons, all those sort of things. And then perhaps we would have things like a lining or interfacing that will add to the cost as well. So you might spend anywhere from $10 to $30 on some, moderate fabric, or $5 to $20 on a pattern if you're buying a commercial pattern. You also have to think about the tools that you need. I always recommend that you start with just a few basic essential tools. You can get a complete list of all my favorite tools. The link is in the description below. Of course, you need to take into consideration the cost of all those essential tools and of your sewing machine, which is probably the largest cost, which it may seem like a really big investment at the time. And those first initial projects will seem very expensive, but these things last a very long time. So each future project will really only be more of those expendable items like fabric and notions. But we do have to think about the time that we will invest into the project. A simple project may take hours to create, where a more complex one might take days. So is the investment of our time really worth any potential cost savings? And let's talk about something that doesn't always get factored in to the cost, and that is failed projects. I've had many failed projects. They might be different degrees of failure, some complete, some I just don't wear it that much. But there is a cost to all these failed projects. We could lose anywhere from $20 to $100 or perhaps more. So we really do need to take these things into consideration. Maybe the fabric was wrong for the type of garment. Maybe we didn't yet have the skills that were needed to do all the techniques in the garment that we want to make. And it's not just about the money, it's also the investment in our time. So if we have a failed project, we can get very discouraged that we put all this time into this garment and we don't like it, we won't wear it. But on the flip side of that, we can look at it to say it was a learning experience. And so the next project, maybe we will be more careful with our fabric, or maybe we will practice that technique. And then next time we can execute it more perfectly. But if we're just talking dollars and cents, not every project is going to be a win. And when you purchase something in the store, assuming you've tried it on and it fits, you really don't have as big of a risk of not wearing the garment, even though I know I've bought things in the past that sit in my closet with the tag still on. So there's still a risk there too. So if we compare two garments, one that we purchased and one that we sew, I would say in the low to medium priced garment, it's going to likely be cheaper to buy it. They get the fabric much cheaper, they have very low labor costs. By the time we buy the fabric, the notions, and the pattern, our cost is probably going to be more than that of that particularly fast fashion. But where it really comes in, I think the key to making your own clothes when it comes to quality and fit and design. So it is very hard to find fast fashion, particularly, but almost any fashion. I go into high end department stores and the quality of the fabric is just atrocious. I'm just shocked how much polyester there is, very few natural fibers, not everything's lined. So when I make my own dresses and work attire, I make sure they're all lined. I use much better quality fabric. I am going to get a much higher quality garment than those I can buy in a store. In terms of quality, I think it's so much cheaper to make your own clothes. Often you'll go in and things will cost thousands of dollars, and I know I can make that for maybe less than $100. So very, very high end things I really do not think are worth the money. Also, in terms of fit, I would have difficulty going into a store and finding something that fits me well because I'm extremely tall. You might have some kind of figure that is just not the standard, which I think most of us do have a figure that's not standard. And so it makes it very hard. When I have my own personal sloper, all my clothes fit me perfectly, which I love. So that is another benefit of making your own clothes. And then the third one is I can get whatever design I want. I tend to like clean lines and very minimal, which is very difficult to find in ready to wear clothing. Unless often you can get that in very expensive clothing, which I can't afford. So I love that I can make any design I want, and that is definitely a huge benefit. And there's also factors to consider other than just money. Creativity is one of the top ones. I find sewing such a wonderful hobby. I love spending my free time doing so. I'm really stretching my creative muscle and getting an end product that I'm proud to wear. And the things I make last so much longer, which I love since I'm buying high quality fabrics. I don't have to replace things every year. I'm one who likes to keep my clothes for a very long time, and then that's also much more sustainable. If you want to learn why making my own clothes changed everything for me, check out this video here. And let me know in the comments if you think making your own clothes saves you money or if you just do it for other reasons. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.